Welcome into NFL Daily, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. So glad to have you with us. Coming up on today's show, we will tell you about the Arizona Cardinals coaching search as Kliff Kingsbury has been let go as head coach. GM Steve Keim is also fired as well. Who could be the next head coach for the Arizona Cardinals? We'll break it all down coming up in just a few moments from right now. Before we do, folks, if you want more NFL content, here we are. The playoffs are just about to get started. We are also gearing up with the offseason officially here for a lot of teams in the National Football League. If you're looking for more NFL content, here's what I need you to do. Go ahead and smash that like button on today's video, and we'll count that as like a little survey or a little poll of some sorts. If you like today's video, then that tells us that you want more NFL coverage here on the channel. We'll bring it to you. Go ahead and hit that like button if you want more. Today, we are talking about the Arizona Cardinals and who will be their next head coach. Kliff Kingsbury, after 4 seasons, is out in Arizona, compiled a 28-37-1 record. That one tie coming in his first game ever against the Detroit Lions many years ago. And now, where do the Cardinals go from here in the direction of this organization? First off, let me just say, this is a move that had to happen. I remember at the time when Arizona hired Kingsbury after a terrible tenure as the head coach at Texas Tech, this didn't make sense. And with where the Cardinals are at and just not having the progress for what that roster was, this was an easy decision for the Arizona Cardinals. But as far as the future of this franchise going forward, I got my doubts of how good this job really is, because Kyler Murray tore his ACL. He is going to be out for most of next year. And so you wonder, with as much money as that's dedicated to him, and then his injury situation, not to mention you're in an NFC West division that has the 49ers and the Seahawks there as well, I don't think this is a very good job personally. I think when you look at the job openings that we will see open up over the next week or so, Arizona is going to be one of the worst of those available. So we have some names for you, but it doesn't necessarily mean that all these guys are going to be interested in this job. So we'll see. First off, let's start with Kingsbury, though. Here is our pinned comment today. You know, I get an ad break. If so, take advantage of it. Get your votes in. Tell me this. Do you agree with Arizona's decision to fire Kliff Kingsbury? If you do, type Y for yes. If not, type in for no. Let us know in the comment section below. Y for yes, in for no. So here are the candidates. We begin, of course, with Sean Payton, which is going to be the number one name on almost anyone's list when it comes to coaching candidates. But something you have to keep in mind with Sean Payton that is unique with him compared to other candidates is that with Sean Payton, it's a situation where you have to give up compensation to bring Sean Payton over, as the Saints still have his rights for the next 2 seasons. So that thing gets a little tricky of sorts. If you're trying to bring in Sean Payton, you have to ask yourself, is he worth giving up the draft capital? If you're trying to rebuild a team like the Arizona Cardinals would be doing here, is it worth it to make that sacrifice for Sean Payton? That's a decision ultimately Arizona would have to make, and also does Sean Payton want to be there, obviously, but he would be the number one name and the most qualified and the top prize, you could say, of this period of coaching hires going on right now. Where will Sean Payton coach next year? Will it be in Arizona? Will it be for another team in the National Football League? Let me know in the comments section. Tell me where Sean Payton is ultimately going to end up. Are you wasting money on subscriptions? 80% of people have subscriptions they forgot about. Maybe for you, it's an unused Amazon Prime account or a Hulu account that never gets streamed. There's a great app for that I use to help me track all my expenses, and because of it, I no longer waste money on subscriptions I don't even use. You might have heard of it. It's called Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill. The app shows all your subscriptions in one place, then cancels for you whatever you don't still want. Rocket Money can even find subscriptions you didn't know you were paying for. You may even find out you've been double charged for a subscription. To cancel a subscription, all you have to do is press cancel, and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. Get rid of useless subscriptions with Rocket Money now. Go to rocketmoney.com/NFL Daily and use that promo code as well. You can start saving hundreds of dollars per year. That's rocketmoney.com/ NFL Daily for more. Check them out there. All right, a couple more names to look at for the Cardinals. Here's the top 10 names. Number 2 is Jim Harbaugh, the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines. And I know some people don't like the idea of hiring a college coach because, generally speaking, the track record of hiring college coaches is not that great. But Jim Harbaugh is not just any college coach. He was very successful within this division with the San Francisco 49ers and taking them to the NFC Championship game a couple of times. He's done a good job with his Michigan program. And, of course, he's probably most notably known in college for what he was able to do to develop Andrew Luck. And they've gone to back-to-back college football playoff appearances. Jim Harbaugh would be a great hire for somebody out there. And you may be saying to yourself, well, what are the chances of actually prying him away from Michigan? Well, Michigan might have some NCAA sanctions headed their way, and Jim Harbaugh, we've seen the speculation over the last couple of years about his interest in potentially returning to the NFL game. And there was a report out just last week that he would take any offer to go back to the NFL potentially. So that could be a guy, if Arizona wants him, they might be able to get. Where will Jim Harbaugh coach next year? Will it be in Arizona or will it be somewhere else? Let us know in the comments section where you think Jim Harbaugh is going to end up. We are covering the National Football League each and every day here on the channel with daily news and rumor segments. Also game previews. We do watch parties and more. It's all in one place right here on NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Subscribe now if you haven't already. You'll be glad you did for the latest happenings across the National Football League. The run through the playoffs is covered right here on NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Subscribe now, youtube.com/@chatsports for more. Number 3 on our list, it's an internal name. That's Vance Joseph, the Cardinals defensive coordinator. And according to reports, it's actually gaining steam that he's one of the top candidates despite being on a staff that you would think is going to be dismissed for the most part with a coaching change. But apparently Joseph has impressed those within the organization. He's been having the time of his life there in Arizona. So the former head coach, of course, for the Denver Broncos could be a fit there to stay along and get promoted to be the head coach. Another former NFL head coach is Frank Reich with the Indianapolis Colts, and he is known as an offensive guru of sorts, spent several years with that Indianapolis organization, and hard to imagine that Frank Reich isn't going to end up with a head coaching job somewhere at this juncture with the success he did have at times there with that Indianapolis Colts team. Probably one of the hottest coordinator names on the market is Ben Johnson of the Detroit Lions. What he's been able to do to get this type of quarterback play from Jared Goff this year, and we saw, if you're watching Sunday, the big-time win they had against the Green Bay Packers on the road. That offense really found a rhythm. They were clicking in that second half. Ben Johnson, a name to keep in mind for his potential posture where he could end up as a head coach. You have to think for him it's going to happen sooner rather than later with something gaining steam there. Then we go to Tampa. Number 6 on our list is Byron Leftwich of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. Almost took the Jacksonville Jags job last year, but there was conflicts about how he wanted the team to be run, that he wanted a new general manager in place, and ultimately that did not happen, of course. He stays in Tampa this year. Questions about conflict between him and Tom Brady, but nonetheless, they're in the postseason. Number 7 is DeMeco Ryans, who I personally think is the best defensive coordinator in the entire NFL. And DeMeco Ryans has actually turned down jobs in the past, and his name is going to surface for a lot of big-time jobs. But you have to wonder, as DeMeco Ryans has been careful about what job he wants to take for his first head coaching job, is Arizona the one he wants? Does he want to stay within the division there? Number 8, another offensive coordinator name to keep in mind is Shane Steichen, the Philadelphia Eagles OC. We've seen the Eagles offense be dynamic this year with Jalen Hurts, an MVP candidate, and Philadelphia with the year that they've had and the way that offense has taken a big step up with the next step that we've seen out of Jalen Hurts a lot of credit to Shane for what he's done to get the most out of that offensive system there in Philly. Number 9, former Minnesota Vikings head coach and now Buffalo Bills DC Leslie Frazier is on this list. Frazier's tenure as head coach of the Vikings was not great, left a lot to be desired, I think, to put it kindly there. But the job that he's done in Buffalo, he deserves a lot of credit for. And if you're looking for second chance guys, it seems like Leslie's day is going to come, that he's going to get another chance to be a head coach at some point sooner rather than later. The final name on our list is Eric Bieniemy, another Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator, was there in Kansas City, of course, with Patrick Mahomes and company when they won the Super Bowl just a couple of years ago. And there was questions in the past about how much of the play calling he was doing as opposed to Andy Reid. It does appear that he is the primary play caller now. There's also been questions about him having conflict with Patrick Mahomes over the last couple of seasons, how well he relates to players, and if he's really interviewed well or not. And there was an arrest many years ago that's also come up when teams bring up the idea of potentially having him lead their organization. So there is our list. What do you guys think? Who will be the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals? Will it be somebody we mentioned or somebody we did not mention? I was reading an article from the Arizona Republic today about the possibility of Jason Garrett being the Cardinals head coach. I think that's a little ridiculous, but they did just hire Kliff Kingsbury. I would say Jason Garrett makes more sense right now than Kingsbury did 4 years ago. So we'll see. Who will be the next head coach in Arizona? Let me know in the comments section. You can interact with me on the socials, hanging out with Elon on Twitter at Tyler Jones Live, Zuck and the gang on Instagram and Facebook there as well. And I'll see you next time here on NFL Daily. Thanks for joining us.